Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and joining this radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about what is obviously a very clear international policy, obviously orchestrated and scripted, stage managed by the globalists, for all the white countries to really turbocharge the equity and the social engineering outcomes that the globalists want, which is, of course, to break down, destroy, undermine white society. Now, every financial institution now features mixed race couples, and the white woman and the non-white man's mostly. You get a few that are the other way. If it's the non-white woman, then she's usually half caste, half white, half Asian, for example, with the white man. So the white man generally is red-haired, but now they're also featuring very heavily featuring mixed race lesbian couples, and also having a good old go with mixed race gay couples. And they're featured now in adverts for banking services and real estate in particular, but in other things as well. It's now so rare to see a white-only family or couple. Even if you see a white couple, they for some reason adopted, black lesbian children or something. It's absurd the way they're just pushing the propaganda. But it's now so rare in anything to see an all-white family or couple, or a heterosexual couple for that matter, that you'd swear, just looking at the advertisements, you'd swear that straight white couples in Australia, white country, wouldn't even be 10% of the population, less than 10% of the population. But gay and lesbian couples, especially mixed race, would be in the majority. That's what you'd assume from looking at the adverts. So this is, pushing hard propaganda. Now, if you look at, some people say, well, look, the banks or the real estate companies, they're just wanting to appeal to another market. There's nothing wrong with going and chasing, a gay and lesbian, or lesbian mixed race. So how many mixed race lesbian couples are there who've got any money? And the adverts feature them buying places that are worth 2 million plus, even waterfront property that's looking so clearly it's in the realms of fantasy. But here's these some of them quite butch dykey looking, pink and green, blue haired, and the whole 9 yards. And now, what would be the marketplace for that? Are they appealing to 0.5% of the population, 0.25%, less than 0.25%? I would fancy less than 0.25%. So why would you have an advertising campaign to appeal to such a minuscule section of the market where you're only going to get a small percentage of that? So if there's one, for example, if there's one in, say, 500 couples is mixed race lesbian, then and you're going to get, given there's 5, you're going to get maybe a fifth or a sixth of that, and only those who've got the money. So you can break it down again. So you're running an advertising campaign to appeal to 1 in every 2,000 people. 1 in every 3,000 people. So you wouldn't do it. Any responsible commercial organisation would say, hey, that's not. We go for the biggest market or the richest market. Now it could be a small number of people who are very rich, or it could be the majority, but you don't go for anything else. So this is obviously pure propaganda, pushing the idea of mixed race relationships and gay lesbian relationships, that sort of thing. So that it's propaganda to push it. Now, I saw an advert online earlier today that was promoting, I think it was curtains or carpets or something like that, and it was a smallish Australian business, and they they have featured a white family in that. A straight white male, straight, the wife, and the white children. And it's such a surprise to see that now that I looked up in disbelief. Yeah. It's just so rare now. Yes, but so they're pushing the propaganda hard. Something else I've noticed as well is, and I keep an eye on these things just so I can, bring it to the attention of my coterie of listeners. And this is the amount of jobs paying around the average wage. These are, or above, I guess, but in the sort of 90% to 125% of the average wage. So they're not well-paid jobs necessarily, but where they're openly stating, this job is reserved for black people only, or black females only, or black lesbians only. They're actually determining your race, your gender, and your sexuality, saying only these people can apply. Now, that's just blatantly illegal. It's just nothing to it. It is blatantly illegal. And there are various groups and organisations, either fully or primarily taxpayer funded, that are meant to stop all that. If they see that, they don't need a complaint. They can act on it themselves and say this is in breach of the law, and can take action against any organisation or group, whether it be a government department or an NGO, a quango, a private company, publicly traded company, anything. It doesn't matter. They can take action, and there's equally government organisations that employment. Employment groups and so on, unions and the like. So this is blatantly illegal, and you might as well just put a sign up saying straight white people need not apply, straight white males need not apply. That's really what it is, because they're not even attempting to hire the most qualified. Far from it. They just want to do the quotas and the affirmative action hiring. But they're doing it blatantly. Now, in some ways, I'd rather they did that rather than pretending that it's an open advertisement for a job and saying that they're going to, or pretending or inferring they're going to hire the most qualified, when in fact they've got no intention of doing that. So they're deceitfully and treacherously advertising a job that is exclusively for example, black lesbians, but they don't declare it. So in some ways, I'd rather it was declared. Because then that at least it's up front, so people don't waste their time. Yeah, it's given the amount of interviews these folks put people through, and if someone's a bit, they're a bit short on cash or something like that, and they've got to pay to travel somewhere, this sort of thing, it's not easy on them. So they should, there should be the advert should be clear. We want a black lesbian with 3 left arms or something. They should be clear like that, I think. However, let's just come back to the legality of it. It is blatantly illegal. But, I don't see any government. There's no, there's an equal, a discrimination tribunal, equal rights tribunal. There's all these sort of things that are either, completely or primarily government funded, and yet these are organisations that jump up and down because a black lesbian was denied or was allegedly denied entry to a bar or a restaurant somewhere, and it'll be national headlines. It'll be frothy. It'll be, that shows that Hitler is everywhere. Hitler, and yet these sort of things go on. Straight white males not allowed to apply, and it's not that it happens so much. But it's the amount of jobs. Typically, you'd see, say, there'd be a certain government department where maybe they're going to have some Indigenous Australian children that were going to be a part of some educational program. And they'd be saying, well, we prefer an Indigenous Australian educator to be involved. Now, I kind of don't have a problem with it. I don't think it's the right thing to do. I still think merit should decide it, but you can sort of understand it. But these are jobs that have no particular or specific requirement for for black lesbians or they should be merit based, but they're not. So the what I'm talking about here is the number of jobs are now creeping up into, say, twice or even three times the average wage. The increasing number of jobs that are being reserved for that are off limits to straight white males. Now, again, blatantly against the law, but no one is making lawsuits. Not one government organisation, no government, nothing, not NGO, no one is getting up and saying, look, whether you like the straight white males or not, or you like the black lesbians or not, this is against the fucking law. That's why we have laws that are applied equally. The rule of law, that laws are applied equally. And if we say it's wrong for black lesbians to be denied a job or denied this, then it's wrong when it happens to anybody. It's not only a bad thing when it happens, but this is not what it's about now. We are blatantly in a situation of social engineering, top to bottom, left to right, three-dimensional. It is now everywhere, and it's getting worse. And it's creeping into more and more areas, whether it's allocation of social services, allocation of medical care, allocation of jobs, or anything and everything. The adverts you see on online or on television and so on. It is now so rare to see a straight white family that it's almost eyebrow raising when you do see it. So this is what's happening now. Our own politicians, of course, they've got their writing instructions from the globalists. And if you say anything about it, or even ask questions or complain, then you're a fucking Nazi, fucking racist, you're Hitler. And that's really where we're at now. That's the insanity of the times we live in. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.